Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today with me. My name is Clara Custodio. I lead customer experience and support here at Consensus International. I see a lot of familiar names connected to this webinar. Thank you all for being here. I'm really glad you're here. I want to ask for a little bit of your patience today with me. Regularly, I have a panelist with me, and I introduce my panelists and then we alternate, but today is all going to be me, my voice, my accent. So thank you very much for for enduring me, and I also ask a little bit of understanding and patience with transitions. I'm going to try to do my best, but we might need to wait for some seconds while I transition from one screen to the next. I'm really excited about today's content. Actually, when I started working on this content, I realized there was too much to put into one single session. So we're going to be sharing SAP Business One self-help tools, as well as support tips that we've put together with the support team. And we'll go over our 7 favorite places to learn SAP Business One, as well as to how to document best our support requests to get help faster. But we will create a second webinar so that we can dig in deeper on those two contents regarding favorite places to learn and how to best document support requests. So that will be next month, but let's get started with today's content. Just a reminder about Consensus and why we do what we do, and the spirit that we all have in the consulting team and in the support team, and really everyone at Consensus. We are really happy when we go home and we feel like we've helped you. So today is very exciting for me, because if any of these tips is helpful for you, I would feel really, really good. So if you like the content that I'm sharing, or if you don't like it either, also, if you think that it's not good enough or anything, all your feedback helps me build future content and improve. So please share your thoughts. I really, really appreciate it. Also, you can find these kinds of tips and content that the idea is that they help you with your SAP Business One work life. You can find all these contents on our social media platforms. So choose your favorite platform and look for us there, and you'll see that the content that we share is really with the idea of helping you as an SAP Business One user on your day-to-day work life. We also have a website. If you haven't visited our website recently, please take a look. We have a brand new website. Our marketing manager did a fantastic job there, and it's very appealing. It's very nice. It's user-friendly, and we have a lot of content in our website too under the tab resources. So go there, explore. You have all the webinars that are recorded and then available for you and other users. So please use it. It's a tool for you, and your feedback is always welcome so that we can also improve there. But we've recently improved greatly on the website side. I wanted to make a brief reminder for everyone, because I'm going to be mentioning these roles throughout the videos when I share tips, and I want just for all of us to be on the same page regarding this. When you implement SAP Business One, or any other ERP system, I guess, for that matter, it's very important that within your company, someone has these roles clearly defined. And these are 3 different roles, but many times when we are working on a small or medium-sized enterprise, it's just one person, right? It's one person with all these hats. That it's okay. I'm just going to go back so that we can quickly analyze the role and what it means. So someone is playing the role of system admin at your company. Also, there must be an IT manager. If your system is hosted, that role might be played by your hosting provider, for instance. And then always we look for a support champion within every company. If you're a support champion and you know you are a support champion, great. if you don't know who your super champion in your company is, I invite you to have this conversation. You can always give me a call and we can discuss who is playing this role at your company. But we have discovered that having clarity on these roles internally helps us tremendously help you better. And then it helps us work as a team. Okay. So just a brief reminder, and if anyone has any questions regarding this, please reach out and I'll be happy to have that conversation. Again, just a housekeeping item. You're all muted by default right now, all attendees are, but if you have questions throughout the content, you can always use the Q&A functionality in Zoom. If I can get to your questions at the end of this webinar, I will. If not, I will reply to each one of you individually. And I'm going to now stop my camera so that we can concentrate on the content that I've worked with. And here comes the first transition. So just give me a second as I'm going to share some SAP Business One self-help tools that you can find in your system. SAP Business One user manual is a very good place to start. And we'll see that you can access the SAP Business One user manual through different web portals when we review our favorite places to learn SAP Business One. But actually, you can directly access it from your own system. And you only need to go to Help in the menu, then choose Documentation, which is the first option, and then Online Help. Online Help really is a user manual for SAP Business One. And when you reach your user manual directly from your system, the advantage is that it brings the user manual for your specific version that you're running. I'm sorry, it opened for me in a different window. That's why I had to drag it here. I want to show you also something else, which is very cool. And it's under Help. You will see that, sorry, the first option is online help. Then you have country region specific information, and the system identifies which localization you're running, and it will bring you information pertaining to that localization. You know that SAP Business One has many different localizations, depending on the country that you are, where you're running. And then you have these two options, context help and what's this. For these two options to work, which if you note, they're also including shortcuts, keyboard shortcuts to open these two. You need to be actually doing something in the system, and I'm going to show you how that works. If we open a sales order and we activate help, documentation, and context help, what this is going to do is it's going to open the user manual specifically in the chapter that pertains to the window that you are seeing in your system. So it's really saving you a lot of time. Also, if you activate a specific field within your document and then you go to Help, Documentation, and under Context Help, what's this? Or you use the Shift and F1 on your keyboard, what this is going to do is, again, open the SAP Business One user manual, but specifically on the chapter of the window that you're running and with information specific to the field that you had active at that time on your system. So really a quick way to access the user manual with context help. And I think this is pretty cool. So the scenario that I want to show you today is me trying to add an AR invoice, as you can see on my screen. Because I am using a large font size for all of you to be able to see, I'm going to have to navigate through my document using this bar to the right side so that I can see the bottom of my document, and I have the option to add and view. So we're going to try to add this AR invoice, and this a specific demo that I'm using today has a lot of validations. I'm going to click yes to all. And this validation is the one that you all should see when you're trying to add a new document. So SAP always gives you the chance to to sync again before adding a document, because it's permanent and you'll have to cancel it, and that will leave a trail behind, as you know, in SAP. So always SAP is asking you, are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. And in this case, we have a red error message at the bottom of our screen. If you see, that red bar disappears quite quickly. In this case, since my font is very large, we were able to read it maybe, but it shows for a very short period of time. And when you're not using such a large font, you might not even be able to read it correctly. For me, that was a very frustrating experience as an SAP Business One user, until one of our consultants here at Consensus showed me the power of the system messages log combined with the online help feature in SAP Business One, which is what I'm going to show you right now. So when that happens to you and you see that error message, you can quickly go to Window, App on your menu. You click and you have all these options, and you're going to choose System Messages Log. This is, as the name suggests, is just a log of all the messages that the system has been sending to you in different formats. It could be in a red bar because it was an error, or it could be a warning like the ones we were seeing, the validations, or it could be just general information. You can choose to display only the errors, for instance. Let's do that. And then it's going to show us only error messages. You can also choose how many you want to see. Maybe we just want to see the last 5 error messages that we've seen. And then the one on top is going to be the most recent. Since I attempted adding this document a couple of times, I see the same error message twice here. So I'm just going to hover over the very last error message. I can read it now, so I could already just copy and paste or type this in if I wanted to send an email to support@consensusintl.com, I could maybe make a screenshot of this error message or just copy and paste it so that our consultants know what error was showing for us. But before doing that, this is what you can do. You can hover over this message, and then you can right click on your mouse, and this will open this very small menu, and you can click on the very last option, which reads Search Online. I'm going to show you what this does. This automatically opens a browser window for you, in which what's happening here is that we're looking for content related to this error message within the version that you're running of SAP. So if you saw at the beginning of this, it's very clear, SAP Business One 10. If you were running a different version, that's what the system will be looking for, related to this specific error message. And then this last part of the search means that it's only going to show you results within official SAP.com pages. So you can know that this is for sure something that you can trust. And in this case, it's showing us how to assign business partners to branches, because that's the error. And you see that results come from the help page at SAP. Sometimes they come from the community, and it's a user asking a question relating to this error, and then the answers of more, experienced users or even consultants. So this is, for instance, one of these. Maybe we see here another error and what it brings. So here we see different types of help. So this is one of the ones that I was talking about. This is from the community. So if you browse here, what you'll see is a question, and many times you see the answers of experts or SAP consultants. So using both the window and system messages log activation will allow you to read the error with more time. And then when you combine that with hovering over and choosing search online, you might find a lot of answers to your questions right there and then. And this is one of the SAP self-help tools that is available to all users. We hope you enjoy it. When you have recently undergone an upgrade of your SAP Business One software, many of you ask, where can I find information about the new functionality that has been added to my version? We do send you in advance documents describing this new functionality and playlists of videos that can be found on our YouTube page or on the SAP Business One YouTube page. But once you've gone through the upgrade, you also have a very quick way of accessing a document with all the new functionalities that have been added to your version. And I want to show you how to go there. If you go to Help and you open the Welcome screen, which is the second option, you're going to see that it contains a number of links. The one that I want to share with you right now is the one that's called What's New. And you see that what that does is it opens a document. Again, I'm sorry because it opened on a different window for me. It opens a document about what's new in your version and previous versions of SAP Business One 10 in this case. So those were 3 SAP Business One self-help tools. I hope you enjoy working with those. If you have any question, please let me know. I've also prepared a video with some of SAP Business One support tips. These are things that we get questions about frequently in our support platform. And we thought that sharing with you the answer and the possible solution could make things easier for you on your day-to-day in Business One. So let me share that video with you, and then we can see if someone has any questions or anything. Give me just a second, please. Sometimes we get calls by users telling us that they can't find a document that they're looking for. I'm going to share an example of why this can happen in SAP Business One sometimes. For this example, we are looking for a specific AR invoice for our customer, MaxiTech, and we know that this invoice was issued in October of 2022. So but we don't remember the number of the invoice, but we're looking for this invoice that we are sure was generated in October of 2022. So we are using the find mode. We clicked on the binoculars icon. This changed immediately on our screen what the enter function is going to do, what the main button does, which is find. So immediately all the yellow colored fields have become search fields for us. Since we know the name of the customer, we're just going to type in the beginning of the name. The full name is MaxiTech, but we are just going to type the first letters of the name, and then we're going to click on enter. This brings back a full report with a lot of AR invoices. We're going to now look for October of 2022. We're going to scroll down in this case, and we see we have an invoice. The one that we're looking for, we also know that the concept was consulting that we did for this one company. So we're going to choose this one, and we're going to double check if this is the one. And apparently this is not the one, because what we sold them here were some mirrors, some lenses. So we know that this is not the one, but we are left wondering, why didn't we find the invoice that we were looking for? We are sure that it was issued. What can we do? Okay, in this case, let's go to the binoculars again. And we again type Maxi, the first letters of the name of our customer. But then I want to bring your attention to this field right here. In SAP, you have 2 types of sales documents. Some of them are item, and some are service. If you created an invoice that was a service document and you are then searching only for item type documents, you will not see that document on your search. And this, we found, is the reason for many times people not finding what they're looking for. You might have never used the service document, and this document was created by a previous user, for instance, and this makes sense why you wouldn't look at this field. But always, if you can't find your document within your first search, try modifying this and see what happens. In our case, we're going to run the search again, and we see that, remember, the previous report brought a lot of results, a very long list. Those were all item AR invoices. Now, when we are selecting service type of invoices, we only have two, and we see one of them is from October. So here is the document that we were looking for, showing consulting. Let's take a look at this scenario that is a little bit intriguing. We are working with a service AR invoice. So we are typing in the description, we're choosing our GL account, our tax code, and then we have this field called total. So we might say for this repair of an ice cream machine, we charge $500. So we type in 500, we press on tab, and we're going to continue working on this, but then suddenly oh no, we were wrong. No, it wasn't 500. It was really 400. This is what we agreed. I want you to be aware that when you work only with the column total on a service invoice, the first price that you type into this column is going to be considered by SAP the unit price for whatever description you have put into the invoice. So since we have no visibility of that column in this scenario of the unit price or of the discount column, we are not aware that by correcting the total amount, we are actually giving a discount from the original unit price we inputted. So in order to avoid that, what we recommend is that when you work with service invoices, you always have available and visible the unit price as well as the discount. So when you activate both these fields on your service invoice, you only need to add them once, and then every time you open a service invoice, they would be visible. Our recommendation is to always work with unit price. When you type in the price in unit price and then you need to change it, you change it again in unit price, and that won't result in a discount like in the case we're seeing. When you don't have visibility of this, it might be surprising to find out that SAP actually gave a discount in your invoice, and it might be visible if it's included on your layout, and that was not the expected result. So if we start again, we are working with this service invoice, and we are going to tell the system that the unit price for an ice cream repair machine is 500, and then we realize, no, we were wrong, and we change it in the unit price, and this does not generate any discount. But for that, you have to activate the unit price and the discount at the form settings level. For a service invoice, SAP is always going to assume that the unit is one. You don't have units here, you don't have quantity. This is also important, maybe not as much, but it can also happen when you're doing an item invoice and you don't have these columns visible. So I'm going to show you what can happen as well. So we're going to hide those columns. We're going to hide the column discount. This is the one that we're going to hide. So we are hiding the column discount. So we're calling an item from our item master data. And I'm going to choose one of these printers. And I'm going to say that we sell them in packs of 10. And so the unit price is 400 and the total for this invoice is 4,000. But let's imagine that I have negotiated or for some reason I think, no, this is not correct. And I come here and I correct this total and I say 3,500. What is SAP doing here? SAP is always going to estimate the total by multiplying the quantity by the unit price. So if the gross total is not what it should be for you, you should look at quantity and unit price and correct there, unless you want to give a discount. But what SAP is going to do, if you just fix the total, it's give a discount. So now I'm going to show you the discount. We're going to make it visible. And this is also my recommendation, to always have the discount column visible so that you realize, in case you forgot about this rule and you just typed in a total, please know that SAP will assume that you're giving a discount if the total does not match the quantity and the unit price. It could be the case that you don't have visibility of the unit price. At least if you have visibility of the discount, you will be aware of what is going on. If you've recently implemented SAP Business One, you might have heard consultants talking about master data, and or if you have interacted with our support department and we've told you, be careful, that is master data. And you might be wondering, what is master data anyway? Master data is all the data that is mission critical to the running of your business. It describes people, so customers, employees, suppliers, places, offices, locations, ship to addresses, and things, products, and assets. It's not all the data in your system, but it's probably the most complex and most valuable data in an organization. What's really important is to keep quality master data and updated master data. Master data is shared throughout departments, and it's what actually makes having a system like SAP Business One really efficient, because we don't have to retype every time we are going to work with a specific customer. We've already created the business partner master data card for that customer, and all the information related to that customer is included there, so that the system can pull information from there whenever someone creates a delivery or an AR invoice or even an activity or anything else. So really key to keep master data, high quality data. SAP Business One also contains other type of data, like transactional data. Let's take the screen that I'm sharing right now, for instance, and this is an AR invoice to one of our customers. And I see here in this screen, I see some chunks of master data which are marked by the golden arrow. So my customer, the contact at my customer, my items, the tax codes, all those are master data, and it means that I have defined these previously. So before bringing them into a document, I have made definitions that work in this document and in any other document. You get the idea. The other type of data that we take a look at here is transactional data. So for instance, the date, the number in this invoice, this can change from document to document, but every time we pull this code, we know that we're going to be pulling this specific item with this unit price and all the information associated with this code in the item master data. What I want to share with you today is a scenario that we've seen often in support. And it shows a user not aware of the difference between master data and transactional data, and inadvertently making changes to master data that have a huge impact in your operations and in your system. Let's take this AR invoice, for example, and if we go to the accounting tab, we see that this customer brings by default this payment term. Payment term, as you see here with the golden arrow, is also master data. Why? Because we define the payment terms that are acceptable for our company. So we need to define which payment terms we want to show, and we want to give our sales reps access to these payment terms. But let's imagine that one of our sales reps who is creating this AR invoice is not aware of how master data works, and they want to change the payment terms for this specific document. So they have made a negotiation and they want to assign a different payment term to this specific invoice. The correct way of doing that, and this is the tip that I want to share with you today, is whenever you see a golden arrow, you need to know that the neighbor field contains master data. So if you want to change the option here, you should never click on the golden arrow, no. You should go to the very other end of the field and click on the drop-down arrow. This shows us specifically which payment terms have been defined for our company that we can use. Let's say that we want to use net 10 days for this specific document. If we are a user who is authorized to define a new payment term, we can come here, and after clicking on the drop-down arrow, we can click on Define New. We're going to give this new payment term a name. We're going to call it net 10, and we're going to define what this means in our system. And we add this new option, who is automatically assigned to this document. If you see now, the system has already calculated from the document date, September 5th, a due date of September 15th, because we've assigned net 10 as a payment term. If we go back to cash, the due date changes. So this is the correct way of doing it. Let's now pretend that we are not aware that when we click on the golden arrow, we are truly changing definitions that already exist, and this is what we should try to avoid. But I'm going to show you how this can happen. Let's say that the person who is creating this AR invoice comes here, they see that payment terms is cash basic, but they don't like it. They want to give the customer 10 days. They come here and they change this definition. What happens now is that I have to choose something else and then come back to cash basic. Now, with cash basic, we have the system estimating 10 days because we changed a basic definition in the system that already existed. We changed master data. We've seen this happen, and this is the bad news. This does not only change this document. Any document that has cash basic as payment term and it's open will be changed automatically to this, to 10 days of estimation in the due date. If a user makes a change such as this one, and we don't realize that this change was made for, let's say, until the end of September, and then by the end of September, somebody realizes, oh, but this customer is cash basic. Why are we giving them 10 days? And then we figure out that this is what happened. Please note that you will need to review all the documents that were created since this change occurred. And it's not very easy to know exactly how many they were. We might help you correct those documents, or at least guide you into how to correct them using DTW or manually going in one by one and changing them. But even if you realize this happened, and then you go back, you will go back and you will change your definition for cash basic so that it shows 0, it won't affect those documents that were already created when cash basic meant 10 days. This is critical and very, very important. There are authorizations that allow you to limit the number of fields that users can change, but this can be tricky because sometimes a user is responsible for creating new BP master data, and so they need access to master data. It's just very important. You should always combine authorizations with sharing this knowledge with your users so that they understand that whenever they find a golden arrow, if they want to change the value in here, they should either choose the drop-down menu, the drop-down arrow that shows them what the options are that they can choose for this field, or in the cases where you don't see a drop-down arrow, you can click anywhere in the field and you will see a little bubble. And this also lets you choose other options that are available for this field. So if you want to make a change, always go to the drop-down arrow or the little bubble. If you want to find out information or dig deeper into what this means, then you can click on the golden arrow. When a user is not able to do the work that he's supposed to do in the system, it's important to understand that it might be due to different factors and how to identify which one is causing the issue at the time. The first option that could be limiting a user from doing a specific work is the type of license that they have been assigned. As you know, SAP Business One has professional licenses, which have full visibility and full access to all modules and can then be limited by authorizations. And also SAP Business One limited licenses, which are either CRM, logistics, or financial. How do we know that the issue that is preventing the user from performing the operation that they need to perform on the system is related to a license issue? It shows as a red bar error message at the bottom of your screen. The error reads, "You cannot open window with your current license." If you are unsure of what license you need to assign to a specific user, you can always check SAP's license comparison chart. If you don't have one, please send us an email to support@consensusintl.com so we can send you one. And what you will see is the different modules listed here, and then what type of access comes with the type of license. So you have professional. As you see, professional has full visibility and access to all modules. And then you have limited CRM, limited logistics, or limited financials. They each have different type of access. Their access is limited, so it's not to all modules. And they do respond to roles, to typical roles within companies. So if you manage financials, you might only need a financial license. If at some point you need to change, you purchased a financial limited license, but you need a logistic limited license instead, we can always change one for the other. You need to send an email to support@consensusintl.com. You let us know the user, the type of license, the new type of limited license that you want to change that to, and the user that it needs to be assigned to, and we can do that for you. In some cases, you might need to upgrade a limited license to a professional because you realize that with the limitations that the financial, for instance, limited license has, this particular user is not going to be able to perform something that they need to, and that it's included in one of the other limited licenses. So we're always open to have that conversation with you, but this is a very good document to understand which limited license has access to what, and take that into account when working with this type of issue. The other scenario that we might find for a user being limited as to what they can do in the system is related to authorizations in the system. How do we know that we are in front of an authorization issue? This can show in two different types of pop-up windows. The first one, and the screenshot is really bad quality, I apologize for that. The first one here reads, "You are not permitted to perform this action," and it actually gives you the option to perform this action with somebody else's authorization. So if you have a user that has more authorizations than you and he's close by, you can click on this button here, and then the user that has more authorizations will be asked to log in the system in your laptop, and they will be able to authorize as a one-time solution whatever it was that you were trying to achieve. As a permanent solution, you need to go to your system administrator and ask him to change your authorizations if you are asked to perform this action on a regular basis, and then your system administrator will be able to see if that is appropriate. The second pop-up message that you will find, and it can be a little confusing, is this one. It's a system message, and it reads, "To generate this document, first define the numbering series in the administration module." It doesn't have anything to do with numbering series. It has all to do with authorization, so it's a little bit the same as the first pop-up window, but it's not so evident, so we like to include it here. What needs to happen in order to change this is, as I mentioned, you can talk to your system admin, and what they will need to do is they will need to go to the authorizations under administration and system initialization, authorizations, and they will need to look for the user. We're going to pretend that this time it was Tom Brady. He was trying to open a sales order and he couldn't. He received either one of those two messages. And so the system admin would come here, look for the user, then look for the document, the specific document, and they will realize, oh, there's no authorization here. So they change that no authorization to full authorization, and that should solve the issue for Tom with sales orders. There's still another scenario that I want to share with all of you regarding a user not being able to open or find a specific document within the system. If when you started your journey with SAP Business One, you were not meant to touch any sales document, you might have decided not to have the sales module visible. This little icon here that looks like a tool allows you to actually customize this menu for you. So let's imagine that I didn't used to work with sales at all. So in order to simplify my menu, I decided to hide the whole sales module for myself. And then a couple of years go by, and then my boss asks me to work with sales orders. And I come here and I say, I don't even have the sales module. It must be my license. It must be authorizations. When really it's not that. It's just that I need to click here and realize that I actually hid my sales module. So I just make it visible again, and you can go granular here. So I might work with sales, with the sales module, but I never work with blanket agreement. I never do quotations. I only do sales orders, for instance. I might decide to hide everything else in the sales module just to simplify my menu. And so when I open sales, I only have these options and I don't have the quotations. I don't have the blanket agreement. But if I ever need it again, I can just make it visible again. I will come here, open the sales module, and decide which documents I need. So this is just a brief reminder, because we have seen this, users thinking that it was an issue of authorizations or licenses, when in fact it was only the form settings for their menu, and that was very easy to fix. Okay, so those were some tips from the support team that we've seen those questions come in, and we hope that they help you understand better some of those errors that can happen. I apologize, two of the titles were mixed. I'm sure you realized. As I mentioned, too much content for just one webinar. So if you are, what you're seeing on my screen now are 7 of my favorite places to go and learn SAP Business One, and we will cover all of these on my next webinar, on October's webinar. So all of these are available. There are other resources, other learning resources that you can use as well. But what I'll do next month is dig a little deeper into each one of these and show you what it is that I like most about each one of those. Every user has a different learning style, and I hope that with all these possibilities, you will be able to choose the one that best fits you. It's not realistic to think that we're all going to use all of them, but with our introduction to each one of them, I hope that you can decide which one you're going to use better. We're also on next webinar, we're going to cover how to best document a support request, including another self-help tool in SAP Business One called Report a Problem that I want to show you how to use. But for now, just as a preview of that content, I just want to make a note about full screenshots. And I know that we always ask for full screenshots, and some users then ask me when I'm talking to them, and oh, but this is, why do you need a full screenshot? And we do actually lose some time when we need to ask you again, can you please share a full screenshot? And you guys sometimes you share only the error message or only the bottom of your sales order because the issue for you is located there. So I want to show you, first of all of us should have on our keyboard a little key that it's called print screen. So it should be very easy to get a full screenshot of the screen that you want to share with us. And I'm going to show you exactly why we ask for a full screenshot. So I think I didn't know why before, and then my team explained this to me, and it made whole sense. Some of you guys work with more than one company, for instance. This is the first thing. So when you share a full screenshot, we get to see the name of the database where you are logged in, where you're experiencing this issue. For some of you who have 2, 3, or even more companies that you work with, when you send us an email to support and we need to log into your company to try to replicate the issue to see what's going on, if we don't know which database, we're going to have to be sending you an email back and asking you which database, which user is the one experiencing the issue, right? We have visibility of that right there and then if the screenshot is full. Other things are, if you only share this bottom part here of a document, sometimes we don't know, is this an AR invoice? We don't know if it's a sales order, and we really need to know in order to help you faster, okay? So as well, when you take a full screenshot, we can see SAP date and time, and then if the screenshot is full, we also see your system date and time. And to me, that seems irrelevant, but I can tell you now with the experience that I've gained working with the team at support that sometimes the time of the system and the time in SAP and the time of the server is responsible for some issues. So all that information is readily available when you use the print screen button on your keyboard or when you take a full screen, as opposed to just sharing a little piece of the document. So if it's challenging for you to take a full screenshot, please let me know. We can get in a call and figure it out together. But understanding why a full screenshot adds value to your request, I think it's the first step. And this is something that I learned and that I thought it would be good to share with all of you. We'll go over other tips for documenting your requests in a way that allows us to help you faster in the next webinar. I really, really appreciate all of you, your patience and your time. And please know that this is being recorded, so it will be available at a later time. And also all these tips and information, we are also producing videos in Spanish for those of you who work with users that prefer Spanish as a learning language. We're going to also have all this content available in Spanish really soon. So we'll let you know. And I see that no one has any questions, but if you have questions, please do send them to me. I'm always happy to help, and I will reach out to you individually if you have any questions. Thank you again for your time and your patience with me. I hope you all have a wonderful day.